6 a.m. flight out tomorrow morning to go back to work. Had the 2 weeks and I kind of blew the first week. It's kind of nice having the time off. For those of you who don't want to know about flying in Alaska, fast forward exactly 30 seconds. For the rest of you, buckle up. And obviously have deep regrets about quitting my last job and taking this one. Got a couple of acquisitions to show you and then we'll get into the build. So welcome to episode 28. All right, the first toy is this one, which is actually not for the Kitfox. I mean, I could use it when I'm 100 years old and I can't push this super light airplane back in the hangar. I got this for the Yak, so this will be going directly to Ephrata. This came a couple days ago when I was out of town. These are super cool, actually, very well made. I shake my head to think how many very cool motorcycles I bought for less money than this thing, but it'll be worth it, as the guy from the company said when I kind of whined about the price at the trade show here a few years ago. He said it's cheaper than hitting the hangar wall one time, and that is true. All right, the next thing was that my interior kit showed up. I did one of the a la carte choices so I could pick the cushions. I did not want to do upholstery on my center console, the sides of the console, and the insides here. I may change my mind on that. Actually, I might have already. I got the cushions and the colors and the perforated stuff that I wanted. Got the covers for the fuel lines, which go around here and they also kind of cushion your head. Anyway, I had the, I just threw this in here. Nothing's fit up yet and the floorboards are just in loose. Of course, a weight freak. I think I weighed these. Everything except the seat cushions was 3.5 pounds. This does solve a dilemma for me. Actually, two of them. One is that I needed some kind of a protection on the floor where your heels are going to rub. I'd have to have some kind of a metal plate or grip tape or something like that. It would still probably look kind of trashy after a while. So the carpet may solve that. And then the other thing it does, it gives me the stick boots. These just have a Velcro seam around the top, so I didn't have to do anything to get them to fit around the stick grips. And they come with the Velcro double back stuff on the back for when I do get to that fit up stage. And I'm not going to do the piece over the middle because I did the bed liner. But anyway, so I'm pretty happy with these. I think they came out great. Moving on to the build. I think at the end of the last episode, I don't remember if I included any images of this or not, but this is one of the places where I have to fill in a little bit. After I looked at Geek's airplane, Gary Fenning, this had a super nice blend in here. Mine obviously does not. Now, when you fit up these window frame pieces, you have some float in here that you can do something with. And see if I can show why I did this. If I had pushed them all the way in so that this was flush here, what would have happened was that this edge of the aluminum would be up against the tube, and when I cut this triangle window in here, there wouldn't have been enough of a grip for me to bond in that window. And I was kind of concerned about that. I wanted it to be able to plug in here. I'm probably going to use 3M, VHB, or silicone or something. At one point I contemplated just covering these up because they're not very big windows, but having since flown a Kitfox with the bubble doors, which I have, with the windshield and skylight as one piece, and the one piece rear turtle deck, which I don't have, I've got that one. The visibility is outstanding in these airplanes, so I decided to just leave these triangle windows. I will get around to those at some point, but I did this on purpose. I left this plenty of room to get the window tucked up in here. But that leaves me with this right here. So I do not need to worry about this part because the fabric is bridges to this tube, but I do need to worry about from here to here someplace. So I had some people suggest I start with a piece of wood, kind of a wedge shape, bond that in, a little bit of high sol over the top. That's exactly what I'm going to do there. And being as I am still on the Series 5 kick, my airplane has this aluminum piece which goes across the back, kind of takes up some of the baggage compartment opening. And this is the platform, which I've already drilled up, at least on here. And I had another piece of aluminum which I acquired and trimmed and fit and drilled for this job, and then I found this piece with the actual part number on it. This is a brake form piece as opposed to aluminum extrusion. I can use either one, I don't really care. So I'm putting in this platform for the comm antenna in case I end up going with this mount. And I'll get back to that in just a second. And then the reason for this is that the covering comes all the way up here and goes over the top of this aluminum piece. In the Series 7 that you might be building now, there's a place for the baggage compartment to wrap around, and there's a second tube somewhere in here. I don't have one in front of me where the fabric does come around. So some other kind of tube would have to be added in this area for me to get this entire opening. I'm not super worried about it. This is a big enough opening for me, plus the normal way to load a Kitfox on a daily basis is just going to be through this hole right here, which is going to be enough for backpack, sleeping bags, the kind of stuff I'm going to need 99% of the time. And flashing back a ways in case you're just joining me, this is going to be a one-piece turtle deck. This is the one that has the bubble to it so that it doesn't flop around, make loud noises when you're slipping, which I do quite a bit. And I'm just going to leave it as one piece. I'm not going to be one of the people that hinges it in the middle. Having flown the Kitfox's stick and rudder, thing had a hinge, we still pull it out. It's not that hard. So if I need access to the whole thing, it's going to be fine. And this is one of my, I always call them paper dolls. I was going to mount some GPS antennas here. I think I'm going to scrap this idea because I visited Gary in Leavenworth. Don't let anybody fool you, he's really in prison. He pointed out that I could use these tubes right here, which I've already cut and drilled and fit, and I could use a platform, could make it out of wood, probably carbon fiber if I'm feeling crazy, but I don't think it's necessary, and mount GPS antennas on here. They'll be underneath the fiberglass glare shield, out of sight, out of mind, and mostly out of sight. And what's the other thing? Oh yeah, I promised I would get back to this in a minute. So comm antenna, this platform is going to be here. Both Gary and Eric have followed what some other people have done, which is to run one of those strip antennas up the inside of the vertical fin, hangs down below a little bit. They've made the concessions that get that in there. It's really an attractive idea to me because no antenna on the outside of the airplane, no drag, no place for water to leak, and this looks cleaner. And apparently the performance is outstanding, which is also good. So what happens if the performance is not outstanding? You basically cut the cord and mount the antenna old school style, which is why I'm going to put this in here. So plan B would be to mount it here. I have to come up with a mount for my ELT antenna, which might flip it over here. I might put it in the tail cone here someplace. One of the cool things about the Series 7, if you get one of those that already has a mount down here someplace for the ELT antenna, pretty cool installation. So limitation of the Series 5, you got to do some fabricating coming up with your own mount. I started the strip down process, get the interior out of here as much as I need to anyway. Took out the displays. I can leave this panel here. I don't think it's going to be in the way. I do have to take out of course the firewall is about to jump off. I do have to take out the floorboards, which means I have to take out the rudder pedals because the covering material comes to here and wraps around this tube. One of the many distractions over the past week has been doing some of the things I need to get taken care of before I move on. One, I must get the ELT mounted. I used 4 stainless Adele clamps and got this thing in here super solid. And I think that location is going to work out pretty good. And for that ELT location, I was able just to use existing holes that are in the stainless steel tray that comes with it. That worked out great. That left me with the ELT antenna, which took more time. And I was going some crazy directions when my airport neighbor and fellow Kitfox builder Nate stopped by and showed me where the factory Series 7 has a welded in bracket right here. Of course, like I said, you have to fabricate your own for the Series 5. So I just whipped this one out of some angle I had in here. First iteration got me pretty close. This is not the final product. Things I'm going to leave in place, probably the center panel. All the flight controls will stay. The header tank will stay. Seat belts, I'll be able to tuck those up out of the way and get on that covering process. Before I get too crazy, I'm going to have to shoot primer on these anodized pieces. It's one of those things I thought I was going to leave alone, but given the strong directive by Lars at Better Aircraft Fabrics, all these aluminum surfaces should be primered for adhesion of the Ortex. Well, a little bit short of my goal, but I did get the fuselage stripped. Got it flipped over with some help from my airport neighbor Nate. I still need to grab that anodized tube, get it on here, clean everything up, and get a piece of fabric cut and get going, which you'll have to wait because now it's 4 o'clock on the night before I leave to go back to work. But it's in a good spot, so I'll be able to get going immediately upon my return. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.